Hello and welcome to episode 3 of my Let's Build series. This time we tackle the town hall building competition that took place. It took me a day to gather my ideas. I spent some time looking around Homeland's town hall for ideas of what to put in my building. First things first though, I had to decide on a shape. I elected for a rectangular building. As I plotted out the size, I also marked out how I would section off all the walls and windows. 4 wide standard panels with 5 wide middles, ends, and corners. I decided to build the framework entirely out of stone brick at first and swap it out later if necessary. Since the building was going to be largely symmetrical, I wanted to make sure my designs worked, so I only completed one corner before I built the others. I laid out the basic framework of the interior rooms, built some temporary walls, and played with a few designs of the rooms. Rinse and repeat below. I decided on cyan stained clay with inward-facing quartz stairs on the edges to add contrast and depth to the floor. Both blocks are favorites as primary blocks for modern builds, but I like to add them in small quantities to other build styles. After looking at the exterior corners for a while, I decided to bring them out 1 block further. It still felt a little bit off, so I brought it out 1 block more. I wanted the center windows to be a lot more grand than the others. Unfortunately, I only gave myself space for a 3-block wide window, so that'll have to do. At the main entrance, I wanted to make a similarly grand entryway. Doors are very underwhelming, so a large, open passageway was the way to go. After playing with a few different heights and designs, I decided on a simple archway since I handicapped myself again with only a 4-block wide opening. I added another grand window above the entrance, similar to the one on the side. And now for my favorite block to build with, cobblestone walls. They're great for smoothing out hard interior and exterior corners, and, along with stone brick, is the integral component of my build style. I don't like walls going straight down to the ground with no block variation, so I added a foundation layer of smooth stone slabs and cobblestone stairs to break it up. I started placing beams of spruce logs where they fit for some variation. The spruce was flush with the stone bricks at the corner, which felt a bit off. While I debated bringing the corner walls out 1 more, I added some horizontal spruce logs to separate the windows. In the end, I gave in and brought the corners out. After such a monotonous task, I played with floor designs, deciding if, where, and how I would add lighting that wasn't ugly torches. Powering the lamps was easy when they were adjacent to walls. Adding inward-facing stairs in the bottom of glass panes adds some depth to windows. I use upside-down outward-facing stairs on the tops of each window to give a similar effect on the outside. No town hall would be complete without offices for the people with power. To make the maestro offices a bit more open, I added a small window facing toward the hallway using the same stair technique that I used for the exterior windows. Upside-down dark oak stairs lined where walls met the ceiling to round out the edges. It looks a lot better in the other rooms than in the maestro one, but for the sake of consistency, it works. I continued the same decoration methods for the corner rooms, hiding lighting in the ceiling corners. Once again, a 3-wide window doesn't allow for much room for design, so I added stripes of orange and red stained glass to represent Damnation. The individual colors used for the logo for Damnation changed from instance to instance, but I felt these 2 worked best. I continued the floors to the side windows, using stairs to bring the floor even with the bottom of the window. I added white stained glass in place of cyan stained clay for variety, but it became useful later on when I decided to use that area for elevators.
The sheep.
I did a lot of monotonous work off camera, essentially copying the corner I had already made to the other 3 corners. I also completed the central library portion that will house the Saints of Damnation, as well as the wooden beams that would support the roof. On the topic of roofs, they are my absolute least favorite part of making buildings, especially when they're for large structures. I haven't quite found a strategy for making nice roofs, but I usually break them up with log beams, support the overhangs, make the roof rise and fall with the building structure. Here's a good example of how terrible my roof building skills are. Yeah, I'm changing that. For the corners, I just covered the roof with smooth stone slabs. For the sides, I modeled the main entrance's roof, but it took a few tries to get it right. Now for the task of filling in the roof with dark oak slabs, but finally, the front of the building looks exactly how I envisioned. After a while, I finally chose a spot for the admin heads. I used anvils like the current admin hall because they work great for displays, and placed the anvils on upside-down quartz stairs for classy shelves. Painstakingly, I wrote down the name of every inactive or former admin, and added them to the busts. The current staff will be getting their own offices. Starting with the maestros, I added their names and titles above the doors. Every other admin office would have their name and the abbreviated list of servers they're admin for. In each of these offices, I put items relating to that player's skin or personality as a personal touch. I also padded the area underneath their desks with wool that represents the colors of their in-game skins. And apparently Z, JJ, or Madam paid my build a visit. For the final important piece of the town hall, I added in all the signs currently at Warp Saints. This took me about an hour to do, but I was half delusional at 2 AM anyway, so I didn't mind the monotony. Here's a Bunnies building pro tip. If for some reason you're doing a monotonous build without World Editor Voxel, save that part for when you're tired and listen to music. It will go a lot faster. Just, don't try to build a giant demonic hand. Even though this build is focused on the structure itself, some terraforming behind the town hall couldn't hurt. I brought the grass away from the building's walls and tried to make it look natural looking. In places where it was too high to make convincing hills, I put a water spring. In the front, some scattered gravel and cobblestone blocks function as a loose pathway. The grassy area around the town hall will be filled with oak trees and scattered tall grass. Simple lights made from cobblestone stairs, fences, and redstone lamps light the path on either side. And that's all for this Let's Build. I think the town hall turned out pretty close, if not better than how I imagined it. If you have any questions or suggestions, I'd love to hear them. The competition ended with Z-Critter taking third, B-Knight taking second, and myself with the first prize by 1/10 of a point. You can take a look at all the competition's builds at the warp on your screen. Until next time, see ya!